This one is random 3. I have a number of these. I have 5 of them. This is part 3. And that's Darwin Award. We'll talk more about those in a second. There's a random image. Okay, once again doing random things. The picture I started with the Darwin Award, I actually just picked that randomly, but then I thought it was funny to discuss Darwin Awards. What's that guy doing wrong? What's he doing? Huh? He's starting a chainsaw. If he starts that, that's going to hurt him really badly, right? Okay, who was Darwin? Huh? Yeah, okay. What is he known for? Yeah, theory of evolution, right? What is a Darwin Award? What is a Darwin Award? What do you think it is? Okay, but there's an award for a Darwin Award. What do you think that is? It's named after Charles Darwin. What do you think a Darwin Award is?
I think it is the reward for the ridiculous reward to follow people those the reproduction ability.
Kinda, yeah. We'll talk a little more about that. Charles Darwin was a naturalist and a geologist. He wrote The Origin of Species, and in that book he introduced his theory of biological evolution. The Darwin Award is a humorous attempt to award people for not passing on their genes to future generations because they accidentally lost their lives due to stupid behavior, right? It's a little mean when they give these awards. It's a joke, really. It's not a serious thing, but it's a little mean. People who do stupid things and they die as a result of it, right? They could say they got a Darwin Award because they won't be passing on their genes to future people. Part of evolution is survival of the fittest, right? That doesn't necessarily mean strongest. It means best suited to your environment to continue the species, right? And so some people, they do stupid things and they lose their lives. It's a little mean, but I didn't put anyone's names in. But in the Darwin Awards, they'll put people's names in sometimes. But some people make a mistake and they learn from it. Other people make a serious mistake and they can't learn from it because they're dead. All right, in 1999 in Cambodia, decades of armed strife littered Cambodia with unexploded munitions and ordnance. Authorities warned citizens not to tamper with the devices. 3 friends recently spent an evening sharing drinks and exchanging insults at a local cafe in a southeastern province. Their companionable arguing continued for hours until one man pulled out a 25-year-old unexploded anti-tank mine found in his backyard. He tossed it under the table, and the 3 men began playing Russian roulette, each tossing down a drink and then stamping on the mine. The other villagers fled in terror. Minutes later, the explosive device detonated with a tremendous boom, killing the 3 men in the bar. Their wives could not even find their flesh because the blast destroyed everything, the newspaper reported. So these guys found an unexploded mine. They took it to a bar, and they were drinking, and they're stomping on it until it blew up and killed them. So they got a Darwin Award. In 1999 in Denmark, a powerful winter storm plowed through Europe. Hurricane force winds gusted to 110 miles per hour, and massive waves pounded at the seashore. One woman was anxiously watching the news of the worst storm in Denmark that century when the TV picture suddenly became too grainy to see what was happening. The antenna on the roof had come loose and started banging around. Determined not to miss any information, and despite the howling winds, she decided to climb up on the roof to fix the antenna. She was blown off the roof by the hurricane winds and killed. As a consolation prize, she became a major part of the news over the next few days. So, before internet, people had to put an antenna on the roof to receive television signals, right? And there was a hurricane going on. It blew off her antenna, so she tried to go up and fix her antenna, and the winds blew her off the roof because a hurricane was happening, and she was killed. This was in 2009. Two men disguised entered a Sprint store on Sparkleberry Lane, pulled out guns, and stole wallets, purses, and credit cards from employees before ordering them into a bathroom. Both men fled, but they could not flee from their own stupidity. Okay, this one doesn't have his full name. James T. had disguised himself by painting his face gold. Yes, in order to conceal his identity during the robbery, James has covered his skin with spray paint. If this isn't a Darwin Award, what is? Paints are clearly labeled, do not get on skin, do not get in eyes, do not inhale. Paint fumes were well known to be toxic, and the metallic colors are particularly noxious. James began having trouble breathing and died wheezing shortly after the robbery took place. To add insult to injury, the disguise was ineffective. Witnesses were certain as to the identity of their assailant. Had he lived, James, like his accomplice, would have been charged with armed robbery. So, to disguise himself, he spray painted himself gold, and the paint killed him. But even if the paint hadn't killed him, everyone knew who he was. He just looked the same, except his face was gold. The Darwin Awards were started in 1994. If you want to read more Darwin Awards, you could go to darwinawards.com. Okay, what's that girl doing wrong? Yes, there's going to be a recoil on that rifle. That needs to be resting on her shoulder, because when she shoots it, it's going to push back, right? And the way she is, that's probably going to rip out her eye if she fired it like that, because it's going to go right back into her eye. Random image. All right, what is a compliment? Huh? Okay, praise, right? What is a backhanded compliment? You could look it up or you can guess. What is a backhanded compliment? Huh? I guess it could be ironic. That's not exactly what it means. If someone gave you a backhanded compliment, what are they doing? Indirect what? Indirect praise? No. Huh? What? I don't understand. Sectile? What? What? I don't know what you're saying. Huh? Satire. Oh. Maybe it could be satirical, but what are they actually doing? Are they complimenting you? If someone gives you a backhanded compliment, is it really a compliment? No, what is it? If it's not a compliment, what is it? It could be ironic, it could be satirical, but what are they doing? Not gossip, really. What kind?
Exaggerate.
Not exaggerate. Okay, look at the picture. Yeah, that's not a great one. We'll just move on. We'll talk about it. A backhanded compliment is an insult disguised as a compliment. Sometimes inadvertent, but usually intentional. Often the person receiving the compliment does not realize that it's an insult. So a backhanded compliment seems like a compliment, but it's actually an insult. Right? There's a meaning there that's not nice. You drive very well for a woman. That's a backhanded compliment. What does that mean? You drive very well for a woman. What does that mean? What's the insult? How can that be insulting?
Maybe you cannot say you drive like a woman and as a woman.
They're saying women are not good drivers, right? But you're okay, you drive pretty well for a woman, but you're still not as good as me because I'm a man, right? So that's a backhanded compliment. You are so much fun when you are drunk. Yeah, that means you're very boring if you're not drunk, right? You're only fun when you're drunk. You look healthy. Well, maybe you look fat, right? You look so good today.
But nowadays bad.
Yeah, normally you look bad, right? But today you look good. You have such a pretty face.
Only face.
Yeah, the rest of your body is ugly, but your face is pretty. Your wife or your husband is so good looking.
Is that you?
Yeah, you're not, but your partner is, right? You don't have to worry about people liking you only for your appearance.
Your appearance is ugly.
Yeah, you don't look good, right? So people won't like you for your appearance. These clothes make you look so thin. Yeah, you're fat, but these clothes look good on you. You must have been very good looking when you were younger. Now you're not. Maybe you were good looking when you were younger. You make me feel so smart. Yeah, well, you're stupid, right? You would be attractive if you wore different clothes. Yeah, you're unattractive right now, right? You look so good, I didn't recognize you. Yeah, normally you look very bad, right? But this time you look good. So backhanded compliments, they might seem like a compliment, but they're actually an insult, right? Sometimes they're accidental, right? You're trying to compliment someone and it comes out wrong. But often people are deliberately trying to insult you, but sound like they're not, yeah? Do you know any backhanded compliments? No, can't think of any. No. None. Okay then, moving on. Random image. For these, I type in random image and then I pick one to put on here. But the rest of the stuff isn't so random. Okay, verb tense. What is a verb? What's a verb? Huh? Maybe, but what is it? What do verbs do? Yeah, for argument's sake, there's some verbs that aren't action, but easy definition of verb is it's an action word. What does verb tense mean? What is verb tense? Huh? Sort of, but why? Why use different verb tenses?
Express action and state.
I don't like state. You're saying action, but why do we have different verb tenses? Yeah, time. Tense is time, when something happened, right? How many different tenses do we have in the English language? Verb tenses. Huh? 8 more. Less. More. Yeah, 12. 12 different tenses. The three basic tenses are past, present, and future. However, they can be divided up into additional categories. We have simple, perfect, continuous, and perfect continuous, right? 4. So 3 times 4 is 12. Simple present tense. I love you. Present continuous tense. I am loving you. Present perfect tense. I have loved you. Present perfect continuous tense. I have been loving you. Simple past tense. I loved you. Past continuous tense. I was loving you. Past perfect tense. I had loved you. Past perfect continuous tense. I had been loving you. Simple future tense. I will love you. Future continuous tense. I will be loving you. Future perfect tense. I will have loved you. Future perfect continuous tense. I will have been loving you. Some of those we use less often than others. Like this last one. When would we use that? The future perfect continuous tense. I will have been loving you. Why would we use that? We're going to put another time in there, right? So let's say you're married and your anniversary is coming up. Maybe tomorrow is your anniversary, right? You might say, tomorrow I will have been loving you for 10 years, right? It's not common. Some of these are not very common, but we do have, in English, we have 12 different tenses. And some of them we don't use as often as others. Random image. Okay, let's look at some vocabulary. What does analyze mean? Huh? Kind of think. When you analyze something, what do you do to it? Okay, kind of research. We'll talk a little bit more about it. What does prolific mean? Prolific. What does prolific mean? Creative? I don't like... I can see maybe why you'd say that. I don't care for that definition. We'll talk more about that. What does prerogative mean? Huh? What?
Produce a number of works.
Privilege.
Is that prolific you're talking about?
Privilege.
Okay, kind of privilege. And superfluous. What does superfluous mean? Some people say superfluous.
More than you need or want.
Yeah. Analyzing is the act of breaking something complex into smaller parts in order to understand the whole thing better, right? So kind of like researching something, right? Jason likes to analyze music, lyrics, and poetry. That means breaking it down into smaller parts, right? Understanding the smaller parts and then putting it back together to understand the whole thing better. Prolific means fruitful, causing abundant growth, relatively rapid reproduction. Mice breed at such a prolific rate that 2 mice can ultimately create over 100 mice in a year, right? A prerogative is an exclusive privilege or right granted to a person or group. In the United States, acquiring one's driver's license is a privilege, not a prerogative of anybody. Superfluous, I normally say, is something that is more than what is needed or it's unnecessary. Jason will often drink a superfluous amount of beer, right? More than what is needed, more than is necessary. And that sign is supposed to be funny. This was back when women's suffrage was going on, and one of the things they wanted was to make alcohol illegal. And they said, lips that touch liquor shall not touch ours. And then, so they said that's superfluous, right? Ladies, unfortunately, most of you are in no danger of being kissed by anyone anyway. So they're making, it's supposed to be funny. It's making fun of that. Random image. Oh no, the Easter Bunny is dead. Someone found a dead rabbit on the road. Then they just threw some Easter eggs near it and took a picture. All right, some random trivia. What trade was Socrates trained for? So who was Socrates? Philosopher, yes. We know him as a philosopher, but what did he train to be when he was younger? What did he decide he was going to be? Then later he became a philosopher. Before philosopher, what did he train to be? Yes, we know him as a philosopher, but before that, what did he train to be? It's hard to look up. Just guess. What do you think his career choice was before he became a philosopher? A beggar? No, we'll talk about it. What legendary king pulled a sword from a stone? legendary king pulled a sword from a stone?
Awesome.
Yeah, Arthur. A shade is another name for what supernatural creature? What does supernatural mean? What is supernatural? Supernatural. What is that? You could look it up or guess. What is supernatural? What? Vampire? Yeah, it's. Some people believe in supernatural stuff. Most people don't, right? Supernatural is maybe like monsters, vampires, or werewolves, right? Things like that are supernatural. Some people believe in them, most people don't. So a shade is another name for what supernatural creature?
Ghost.
Yeah, ghost. Who killed Abraham Lincoln?
John Ghost. John Ghost.
Yeah, so you guys looked that up while I was talking about something else, right? Yeah, John Wilkes Booth. Socrates was a philosopher in ancient Greece. He taught Plato, another famous philosopher, and Plato taught Aristotle. Aristotle was also a philosopher and a famous historical biologist. And Aristotle taught Alexander the Great, right? So 4 generations of student teacher. Socrates was originally trained to be a stone cutter before he became a philosopher. King Arthur was said to have pulled the sword from the stone. The sword was called Excalibur in most versions. I've seen a version where it's called Caliburn, but mostly called Excalibur. Sir Thomas Malory was the first to write down the legend of Arthur. I'm not sure that's true anymore. He was the first, most popular one to write it down, but other people had written bits and pieces of it before that. Jason's favorite film is Excalibur. I like that movie. A shade is another word for ghost. The word ghost has many synonyms. Haunt, specter, poltergeist, spook, phantom, apparition, and spirit can all refer to ghosts. But they're synonyms, so they're not always exactly ghost. Typically when we think of ghost, we think of something bad, but we think of spirit, we think maybe not so bad, right? But they're all souls of dead people. Abraham Lincoln was the 16th president of the U.S. John Wilkes Booth, a loyal Confederate, assassinated him. Random image. Yeah, weird cat. It looks like someone's pulling its ears back and holding it, so it looks even weirder. Okay, what is a quote?
If you quote some saying, it means that you repeat their saying.
Yeah, it's something someone else said, right? Quote is short for quotation. Something someone else said, maybe a popular person, or maybe the quote itself is just quite popular, right? People normally quote others because they agree with them or just because they respect the person who said it. In part 2, which you guys didn't see, that we did some quotes. Here's one. He was a wise man who invented beer. That's by Plato. What's that mean? He was a wise man who invented beer. What's that mean? Why say that? Huh? But why would you quote Plato? He was a wise man who invented beer. Why would you say that? Or why would someone say that? Why? Why say that? Why? Why say that? He was a wise man who invented beer. Why would someone say that? Yeah, they like beer, right? If you enjoy drinking beer, you might say that. Some more Abraham Lincoln. Do I not destroy my enemies when I make them my friends? What does that mean?
Transfer your enemy to your friends.
Yeah, that's another way to get rid of an enemy besides killing them, right? Once you make someone your friend, they're no longer your enemy, right? Be sure you put your feet in the right place, then stand firm. What's that mean? What do you think that means? Be strong. Why would you make sure you put your feet in the right place? Huh? What? Okay, but why put your feet in the right place before you begin? Why do that? What does that mean? Kinda. That's part of it. Putting your feet. Basically, he was a politician, right? So politicians have opinions on different matters that disagree with others. So basically, anytime you're making a choice on your opinion, put your feet in the right place means to make sure you agree with this argument, right? Make sure you're on the right side or on whatever side your morals tell you to be, right? And then stand firm. Then once you know where you are in the argument, what you agree with or disagree with, then you stand firm, right? Then you argue. Then you give people your opinion. But before you do that, make sure you have the right opinion. Albert Einstein. I never think of the future. It comes soon enough. What's that mean? What?
It will come. Future will come.
Kinda, yeah. Right. He doesn't do a lot of planning for the future. It's going to come anyway, no matter what you do, right? Two things are infinite: the universe and human stupidity. And I am not sure about the universe. What's that mean? Yeah, right, two things are stupid, the universe and human stupidity. And I'm not sure about the universe, but he is sure that people can be stupid, right? And Gandhi, I recently read a lot of bad things about Gandhi. But anyhow, he has some good quotes. All right. I object to violence because when it appears good, the good is only temporary. The evil it does is permanent. What does that mean? I object to violence because when it appears good, the good is only temporary. The evil it does is permanent.
I guess the violence won't cause any good, only temporal, damage for free.
Oh, yeah, right. He said, basically, don't be violent, right? Gandhi was known as a peaceful protester. He was Indian. He wanted the British out of India, right? But he was known as being very peaceful. And violence is not good. It may seem good at first, but really it's only a temporary solution. And it's going to, overall, in the long term, it's going to cause more harm. You must be the change you wish to see in the world. What does that mean? You must be the change you wish to see in the world. Yeah. Before you start telling other people to change, you need to change yourself, right? So you need to do it first before you start telling other people what to do. Random image. I honestly don't know what that is. It doesn't look like any bat I've ever seen, right? Because the eyes, most bats, their eyes look different because they really can't see that well. They have eyes. I don't have any idea what that is. Maybe it's not even real. Like I said, I type in random image and then I pick one that comes up. Okay. These don't matter to you guys. These are what some students in Wuhan suggested. But I'd like this one. Asa, a former student of mine back in Wuhan, maybe 9, 10 years ago, he asked this question. He wanted me to propose it to the class. Why is it okay to kill pigs and not pandas? They're both animals. Why is one protected and the other eaten? So
Maybe panda is going to be extinct, but not pig.
pigs are not. That's the big argument, right? But I don't know. Maybe he liked pigs. But also he was saying, why are some, yeah, I understand that, right? Some animals, there's not that many of them left, right? What's another argument for killing pigs but not pandas? Pandas are cute? That pig's not cute? What's another big reason?
Maybe our panda is not good.
Yeah, well, I don't know for sure, but pigs taste good, right? That's another reason we kill pigs. Pigs taste good. We like to eat them, and we don't eat pandas. Maybe, I don't know, thousands of years ago people tried to eat pandas, but maybe they don't taste good. But pandas are mostly eat vegetables, right? Plants. Pigs eat meat and plants, but when they're on a farm, they mostly eat plants because meat's more expensive. But pigs are actually omnivores, where pandas are herbivores. And normally, herbivores taste better. I don't know. Asa, he thinks about stuff like that. Maybe he just liked pigs a lot. All right, another random image. Thank you. This one is a quicker one. Any questions? No questions?